Hello guys, Sorin here. Welcome to our next video from our course on how to create amazing webinars. Okay, in this short video, I want to give you guys 7 tips for creating high quality webinars. These are things that you can apply in order to have a better quality for your webinar. Okay, a better engagement, a better engagement with your audience. Okay, a higher impact for your message to your audience, a better sales pitch if you are having a sales pitch for your webinar. So these are things that are applicable in general for your webinars in order for them to be to have a bigger quality, a higher quality. Okay. So let's dive into these actual 7 tips that I've written here for you, so you can apply them for your webinars. The first one would be to keep your audience interested in and interact with your following before the webinar. What does that mean? Well, if you probably have if you are holding a webinar, obviously you already have an audience, okay, or a following, or you are building one. So there are different methods to do that. Okay, maybe you are having an email list, okay, of your customers, of your audience. Maybe you have a big social following on Facebook or YouTube, okay, or Instagram, or whatever other type of platform you are using. You want exactly before the webinar, you want to interact with them, okay, to remember them things that they will learn in the webinar, to remember them about the webinar, okay, to practically throw them some golden nuggets out of your webinar, things that they will learn there. For example, if you have a big social following on Facebook, you have a very popular Facebook page, it would be a good idea maybe to write them an article, okay, or a post about something that is related to your webinar, okay, and interact with them. And with a couple of days before the webinar, start to remind them that you will have a webinar. Okay, so this is an example, but for example, if you are on YouTube and have a social following on YouTube, you can create videos about things that they will learn in the webinar. Okay, some very even more unspecific tips about what they will learn there than the things that they will learn in the webinar. Okay. Then the second tip would be to prepare an awesome presentation. You can use for that PowerPoint, or you can use even Prezi.com. If you probably have used Prezi.com before, you saw there that they have some amazing templates, okay, some very nice and cool stuff that you can do with Prezi, but you can also do them with PowerPoint. Whichever you choose, you can practically create an amazing job, an amazing presentation. The idea is to practically use the same colors in your presentation, okay, to make them interactive. Obviously, the reason for which you can also you can choose between Prezi or PowerPoint is the fact that you will do share screening, okay, when you will have your webinar. So either if you use PowerPoint or Prezi, you can use the share screen function, so you can even tell them, you can show them a presentation in PDF if you want to, but it's not the case. Okay, so it's very important the presentation to have different types of media, okay, images, animations, okay, to have the same colors everywhere, okay, to give them a sense of unity, okay, and to be like a easy walkthrough. Okay, so that's a very good idea, okay, and make it interactive. Now, the third tip would be to have an awesome host or speaker on your webinar. So if you are not the host of the webinar, or maybe you are just the host of the webinar or the speaker, you should try to use for your webinar someone that it's interactive, okay, that engages with people, that it's likable, because otherwise people will get off your webinar or will fall asleep, and you don't want that to happen. Okay, so you need to have an awesome host or speaker on board. You can invite somebody that is an expert in your field. You can have somebody like a co-speaker or a co-host. Okay, you can think about a couple of solutions like that. Okay, the fourth tip would be to use different types of media. So don't settle just for images, okay, or just for text. Use video, use slides, use screen sharing, in the idea that you are practically showing some practical steps to your audience. Okay, maybe you want to show them how to create a Facebook ad campaign or something like that. Okay, you practically do that live. Okay, you enter on your Facebook page, you set up a Facebook campaign and things like that. You need to use different types of media to make it more interactive and engaging for people. Okay, Now, the fifth tip would be to perform good sound and video checks before the webinar. So just before starting the webinar, you need to be sure that the sound quality is very good. Okay, you don't have any interruptions, and also that video is streamed well. Okay, so you won't have any problems, because if you will have problems when you want to start the webinar, you will lose a lot of your audience that will get off the webinar. Okay, so you need to be prepared. Okay, good preparation makes it even a better webinar. Okay, the sixth tip would be to find a good quiet spot from which you have the webinar. For example, a very good room where you can talk to, where nobody will disturb you. Okay, that would be a very good idea. Somewhere where the sound it's very it doesn't have echo or things like that. Okay, but the most important thing is not for other people to interrupt you or to disturb you, or someone to pass behind your back and his phone to start ringing. Okay, things like that. So you need to find a good quiet spot. Now, the seventh tip that I would give you, and this is not something that has necessarily anything to do with the quality of the webinar, but more with what you can do with the webinar after you finish it, is to record your webinar. Why? Because after you have maybe your first webinar, either if it will be very good or very bad, you can watch it again, analyze it, know where you can make improvements. And if it's a very good webinar, maybe it's a sales webinar and it has a high conversion rate, if you have recorded it, you can reuse it. Okay, the replay, you can practically have a webinar on autopilot. Okay, on the replay. So it's very good to have a recorded webinar. Now, this would be all the tips that I would give to you today in this video. Guys, I thank you very much for your attention. I am sure that if you apply them, you will have a more qualitative webinar and a more high converting webinar. Thank you again for your attention. Sorin here. Till next time. Bye bye and good luck.